Yin and Yang. So I think a day or two ago, I put up a poll on YouTube asking all of you which BTS story video you'd like to see next, a story from Ladakh or a story from Gujarat, from the Rann of Kutch. Firstly, thank you to all of you who saw that poll and voted and cast your vote to share your opinion. The results looked something like this. It was pretty close, and I also noticed that several of you used a little loophole to leave a comment saying you want to see both. We will do both, but obviously we had to figure out which one to do first, and I thought it would be great to get you involved in making that decision. So thank you for helping out, and as you can see, what you chose, or at least what some of you chose, the majority chose, was a story from Gujarat, the Rann of Kutch. So that's what this video is about. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Rohit, you know me here as Toll Free Traveler, and we're doing another BTS story from my 2016 ride. But I think this is fun, courtesy the choice made on the poll. We're now jumping forward in time. It's kind of cool to do this back and forth. I think it changes the story, the context, the place, the landscape. So many things change when we do this, so maybe this is interesting. Let's do this. We are now at the end of June 2016, I think. I think the last story I told you was in Khardungla. That was the beginning of June. This is probably the end because this is after Ladakh. This is when I was doing my ride back home from Delhi. And several of you have actually seen that video from my ride from Delhi to Chennai, the long way home. It was one of the most defining ride experiences of my life. And it was also my first massive solo travel experience, which was pretty mind-blowing. At some point we will talk about solo travel, why I do it, how I do it, some of those things. But for now, the focus is on this little bit of that massive trip. Let me tell you in advance that back in the day in 2016, I wasn't very focused on documenting my travel itself. I never imagined that I would one day be making videos like these or sharing these stories with the world through photographs and videos. So at that point, it wasn't a huge priority. I did do some level of documentation for my own like archives, and that's what I'm using. So we may not have the greatest footage, we may not have much footage, but we will try to work with whatever we have. So as I was saying, this is towards the end of June 2016, probably early July. I'm not really sure exactly when, but it's definitely end of June or after in 2016. I was in Rajasthan on my way back, and I realized that from where I was going to Bhuj and the Rann of Kutch was probably about 1,000-kilometer detour, and I was not going anywhere in a hurry back then. So I thought, hey, having come this far, why not go see the Rann of Kutch as well? Now, for those of you who've not heard of the Rann of Kutch before, the Rann of Kutch is a place in northwestern Gujarat, probably close to the border, as far northwest as you can go in Gujarat. And it's also known as the White Desert because, well, what it's known for being is this expanse of barren white land. It's a popular place in Gujarat, probably one of the most beautiful parts of Gujarat, maybe even in India. It's definitely unique, it's different, and I'd never seen it before. So I figured this was the time to go do it. So the plan was simple, get to Bhuj and then figure out the rest. So I set off from Rajasthan and I was riding to Bhuj. I'm only telling you this because there's a little backstory I want to share with you before we talk about the run itself. So on my way to Bhuj, I'm riding down this highway that's supposed to eventually take me to Bhuj. Now, as I'm going down this highway, at one point there's another road that joins, and I believe that's the road that comes from Ahmedabad to this part of Gujarat. And as I was joining that road, ahead of me, there was this other person on a bike. He was wearing a riding jacket and stuff, who just sort of on a KTM Duke 200, who joined the road ahead of me. And it was nice to see him. I mean, I'd been riding alone for a few days by then, and it's always nice to see a fellow motorcyclist on the road. So as I was overtaking him, I waved at him and I kept going. And I think about 10 minutes later, he came gunning, ripping past me, and then he sort of waved me down, saying, stop on the side of the road. I stopped. We found a little dhaba and we stopped and had a cup of tea together, introduced ourselves to each other. He asked me what I was doing there. I told him what I was doing. And I was actually talking to him to also find out a little bit information about the Run of Kutch. And I don't think he'd been there yet. So he said, hey, listen, I have a few friends who've gone there. Why don't you come and talk to them? So I said, okay, where? And he's from a town called Gandhidham. I hadn't heard of it before. But Gandhidham is relatively close to Bhuj as well. So he just said, okay, you're going to Bhuj. If you don't have a specific reason to go to Bhuj, why don't you come to Gandhidham and spend the night in Gandhidham and then start your ride from Gandhidham the next day. I didn't have any booking in Bhuj or anything. I seldom book hotels ahead, very rarely. So it was okay. I mean, if I could go meet some people and get some information that would be useful, that seemed like a great idea. Obviously, I was a little bit cautious as well because somebody new I've met, but go with the flow. So from there we rode together. We went to Gandhidham. I think it must have been about 40-50 kilometers from where we were. And just as it was evening and the sun was setting, we rode into Gandhidham. And I actually landed up at the most strange place that I could think of in Gujarat, because the first place that we went to was the back of this building. It was some sort of a shopping complex, and we went in and we parked, and then he was like, come, we'll go meet my friends. And we were in a cafe which was also like a shisha bar. And of all the places that I thought I could potentially land up in Gujarat, I didn't think I'd land up at like this shisha cafe where people are smoking hookahs and like dark and like blue lights, and it was really hip, in fact. So that's not what I thought I would find in Gandhidham, but it was cool. And he introduced me to a whole bunch of people, Imran, Anand, his brother, and a few other people. So these guys were really nice. They were very welcoming. I was obviously it took me a little while to get comfortable, but eventually they helped me find a place to stay. We went out for dinner together. We had this great Gujarati thali, fantastic food, just what you need after a long day of riding. And then we went loafing around triples on one motorcycle. We went to a few places in Gandhidham, and eventually, during the process of all of this, they gave me a little bit of information about where I was going and some useful tips. Anand, in fact, one of them, he runs a Royal Enfield service and accessories shop in Gandhidham. It's called Vardhaman Accessories. If you're ever in Gandhidham, then go see him. He'll help you for sure. Really, really nice guys. They'll help you fix up your bike. They'll help you figure stuff out. Really nice bunch. So that was a really nice experience that I had as soon as I got into the region itself. But then I still had to go to the Run of Kutch. So the next morning, I set off from Gandhidham to ride to the White Desert. Soon after I left Gandhidham, for a little while there was a little bit of traffic and there were big highways, but eventually I got onto these endless straights, or seemingly endless at least, narrowish roads, arrow straight, nobody else around, nothing else around, no buildings, no structures. It was just beautiful, and it was a cloudy day as well, so it wasn't too hot. And I hadn't ridden on a road that beautiful in like months and months and months, because most of my time had been spent in the mountains riding on no roads. So it was great fun just riding these roads. I mean, if for nothing else, you need to go there just to ride these roads, because I've never seen anything like it anywhere else in the country. I was having such a good time that I kind of forgot about what I was there for or where I was going. I was just like in the moment, enjoying it all, enjoying being on my motorcycle, where I was, the weather, the landscape, all of that stuff. I was just so lost in it. But eventually I got to the check post. There's a check post to enter the Run of Kutch. I'm told that usually, at least in 2016, you needed to sort of show them some sort of ID and they would give you permission to enter. But when I got there was nobody over there. There was no guard. And that should have sort of given me a hint of what lay ahead. But for some reason, it didn't strike me. I thought maybe they've gone for lunch. So I was sitting around waiting for a while. And eventually this guard strolls up to me and he's like, hey, what are you doing over here? So I told him, I've come to see the Run of Kutch. And he looked really baffled. And he was like, why would you come to see the Run of Kutch now? So I told him, why not? I mean, like, I was riding through this side and I thought I would come and see it. So he said, yeah, but the entire run is filled with water right now. At this point, I thought he was messing with me because from what I'd heard of the Run of Kutch, it was the white desert. Now, when someone tells you a desert is submerged under water, that doesn't make any sense, right? So I thought he was just saying it so that he doesn't have to, make an entry and let me through or anything. So I was like, no, but I still want to go see it. And he said, okay, go see it. Really casual. So I said, don't I have to make an entry or something? He said, no, you're the only person over here. So just go. I don't care. I know that you're here. I'll monitor you when you go out. So go in and see it. And I said, what do you mean I'm the only person that I'm here? This is the Run of Kutch. It's like prime tourist attraction. He said, go inside, you'll see. And you cross the checkpost, and you have this one road that sort of runs through the middle and eventually reaches a watchtower at the end. And I got into that road, and on either side of me, it felt like I had the sea on both sides. I went there expecting to see the desert, and I found the ocean. I mean, it's not the ocean, but it felt like the ocean. So I'm riding down this road, and there's water like almost to the road level. The wind is blowing, and there are like these tiny waves. And sure enough, there was nobody else over there, not a single other person. I rode, I think, that 5 kilometers to the watchtower. It must have been maybe 2 to 5 kilometers, I don't remember, but it was long. And I got to the watchtower, I climbed to the top, and I imagine on a typical day at the Run of Kutch, people stand at the top of this watchtower and like look out to the expanse of the desert, but all I could see is water and clouds all around. And I think for a minute I was like, what have I done? I mean, I came all this way to see something, and what is this? But very quickly I realized that because of the fact that I had no idea, and I hadn't sort of thought this through entirely, I got to experience something very unique. It was surreal. And for me, I think one of the most beautiful things about it is that in a country like India, you seldom get to have like a vast expanse of space to yourself. You will tend to always have people around, maybe a few, maybe a lot, but you'll have people around. Yes, they can add to the experience in many cases, but sometimes you just want to be alone. But finding that kind of space to be alone is very tough, and unintentionally I found it. I found like this insane expanse where there was nobody else, and I had to make the most of it. So I ended up spending quite a bit of time there because I'd stumbled upon this opportunity and I wasn't going to let it go. I mean, it was disappointing in the sense that I hadn't seen the run the way it was supposed to be seen, but it was great because without planning it, without wanting it, I experienced it in a way that not many people have. To end this video, I'm going to leave you with this image. I'm not much of a selfie person. I struggle to take selfies. I don't think I do it well. But there is this one selfie that I'm particularly proud of. It's just me, my motorcycle, that one road in the Run of Kutch, and the water all around us. That's what I end this video with. That's what I leave you with. Thank you for watching. I will catch you in the next video.